Hey guys, Rick Shaw here, 29th of October, 2021. We're having a pretty windy day. Last night it was would gust, but it wasn't like steady gusting for hours at a time. It would be this huge gust and then it would completely quit for 15-20 minutes. Got so loud upstairs when it would gust that it would wake me up, and I'd look out the window. No rain with it, but you know, our little covering we have underneath the driveway there, it held up really well. I do have it pushed to the bottom of the upstairs porch so that it holds it in place. Our neighbors had theirs when the storm came, and they just stayed inside, and it got blown around and smashed. The dude down here at this end of this street, same thing happened to his. It got blown away and smashed. But I think mine being pushed up and tightened up to the bottom of the porch upstairs is keeping the same thing from happening. If it does get a real bad wind, we'll pull her down. But a couple things I wanted to talk about. One of them this morning, I don't know what the heck is going on with the comments on the channel. I answered a bunch of comments, and then a little while later, I'm getting that nothing happened. No little heart, no reply to the comment. They were just all blank. And then it was also going to a bunch of what do you call it? Very old videos from a long time ago that were all blank. So then I started scrolling through, and just weird stuff. Might be a YouTube glitch, I'm not too sure. So that lady over there was calling, but she's a couple times she's been so nasty to me it wasn't funny. So I don't her husband's a nice guy, but I think he's not allowed to speak to me anymore because she got ticked off at me for something. I don't know. We had her daughter teaching the kids tutoring, and she wouldn't pick up the game, you know. So I told my wife, look, we just don't want her no more. So that ticked this woman off. But it was like, you know, we say, hey, we're teaching kindergarten stuff, and I asked, my wife went up and talked to her a couple times, said, no, you got to pick this up. We need you to move this along. And she kept going over the same thing, like colors and numbers of 1 to 10 and stuff. This is all stuff, Mumu knows all that crap. You can go into these books we have. I got a whole bunch of books, and you would be surprised at how many animals all the animals in the book he's got the name for. He knows what they are. He knows how to do the sounds. All his colors are down. You know, he's really getting it. Heck, we're even teaching him port, starboard, you know, aft, stern, bow. You know, just crazy stuff. We talk and go on about a little bit of everything. And he's a great little conversationalist, and he has a mind like a steel trap. He remembers. So, but that's how that is. Another thing that I've been watching, and I was going to mention this before, but I'm going to mention it now because it's just too stupid for words. Now you get a bunch of these nimrods coming out, supposedly these learned doctors from somewhere, saying the big problem with the Java now isn't because of what's in it. Oh no, it can't be that. It's the way it's being administered. Guys. Oh my, they really believe that people are just incredibly stupid. I don't even have much of a response for that other than to just laugh about it. That is so funny. Yeah, could that be causing a problem? Yeah. But I do believe their numbers for this thing are getting covered up, the injuries and stuff. Go to the Onvid vaccine injury site on Telegram. They won't allow it to go up anywhere else. I put links, they pull it out. It's really crazy what happens with that. But there's so many of them, and the sad part about it is a lot of them are saying RIP now, which is really bad. Young people, and you look at some of the big stars that got this thing, and then all of a sudden, boof, they're gone. They're history. So, you know, giving it the wrong way, that's a bunch of baloney. Yeah, I think they ought to take a big needle and stick it in some of these people's brains and inject some brains in there. because it's just not right. And I get trolls will get on there and say, oh yeah, you're this big smart guy, and you know better than these guys. Well, you better watch who you trust and who you look at. Just be a little bit more careful, because you have to use your common sense that is God-given, and a lot of people just aren't. They're following this globalist plan right down to the letter, and you're just it's just ridiculous. That one really made me laugh that they were doing that, but that's how she goes. Yesterday I did that video. It was kind of a long one. Sorry guys, but had some things on my mind. Get over the side. Car coming. Car coming over the side. So we got a lot of stuff growing out on the road here. We'll wave at these guys. Demeterland folks. Whole bunch of them. They come down here from the office a lot, but I wish they would start talking to the owners and tell them all the different things they could have, instead of just, here's your house and bloom. And you look, they're all going to be cookie cutter, exactly the same, with no extra options or anything. The one neighbor came down, he's like, whoa, you put the bathroom door over there in the bedroom? Yeah. Oh, I didn't know you could do that. Yeah, nobody knows, because these people in the office don't tell them. Okay, some of the stuff we changed around in our house didn't cost anything, like the window in the bathroom. They had it facing the side of the house. Well, when the next house goes up, you're going to be looking out that window at a wall. So we had it put towards the front. So if you're in the bathroom, you can see out the front, see in your little car area or whatever. The other thing was the bathroom was in the hallway upstairs. We put it in the bedroom. Got rid of the cabinets, traded them for more cabinets in the kitchen, like that. So those were some things we did, but we didn't know we could bump after the foundation was done, we found out we could have bumped the kitchen out, which I had done, and made a little laundry room off our little dining room area. Instead of a window, put a door there, closed that in. I had all that done. I would have done so much more stuff, because we went in for the budget house. But I had extra. I could have went another, $500,000-600,000 with extras on that, without having to borrow anything. I could have just done that. And we also had money put away for stuff to, put in it. Like I had started working on buying the fridge and the stove, and I wanted to start real early to do all that stuff, so I got what I wanted. And then when I found what I wanted, then all of a sudden I couldn't find it no more. So that was a search for the stove, but then we got it again. And love that stove, guys. It is so dang efficient. I did have somebody leave in the comments, a viewer, that they have one, and I don't like the way the igniter is, because it flashes all of them. It doesn't flash just the one you're using, and I could see that wearing out, and he said you can't find it, so we'd be going to a lighter. But I don't sit and let it click 1,000 times when I turn it on. I actually showed my mother-in-law and my wife. I had to teach them how to do it. Turn the gas on full blast, wait a second or two, and then push the button real quick and let it go. One click, and it lights every time. And then our little heat, I don't know, I call them little afterburners, but what keeps the wind off of the fire and all that, they got to be put on the right way, because if you don't put it on the proper way, it covers the little igniter. So the igniter's outside of where all the gas is. So, my wife cleans those off from time to time, and then all of a sudden, boom, it's no good. She can't light it. She's looking for the lighter. So you just got to open your eyes and look at things. I've always been able to, find obvious things that are wrong. I remember watching Sling Blade, and Carl Chiller, ain't no gas in it. He couldn't figure out what was wrong with the tiller. You just look at the basic stuff on things, and it's easy to figure things out. I'm having a blast right now because she's interested on internal combustion engines. My little daughter, she's interested. We watched some car shows last night. Yeah. Oh no. But that was a lot of fun, showing her this stuff, and she's amazed, and she's interested. So anytime they're interested, it's really easy to teach them stuff, because she's wanting to know. So we were watching last night. We all went to bed early though, but we watched a couple car shows, and she was sitting right next to me, hugging me and watching the show. And she didn't know, but we have that one. It's an engineering one. This dude gets on there and talks about internal combustion engines. He's really sharp. Love to watch him. He gives detailed explanations, and she was glued. She a lot better than I can talk about it, but she was glued to the set. He has pictures. King of the mountains. But so it's a lot of fun when we can find something that's interesting. And we were looking at the bike the other day. She was all interested about the exhaust. That's what really piqued her interest in it. Was she didn't know that an engine was super loud. And then when we're out driving, oh look, there's a loud one. You'll get a bike go by. There's some of these guys, I'm never going to understand wanting it so loud. It's just to each his own, I guess. But I hate a loud motorcycle. I just can't stand them. I had a brother that he would buy the Harley Davidson, get the dang thing home and pull the exhaust off, put nothing on them. Just open pipes. Super obnoxious. And that's not good for the biker people, because you're going to get a lot of people pissed off. They say it's so that you can hear them coming. Well, every single time one of those guys passed me, I didn't know he was there until he was beside me and shocked my system unbelievably. So I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that. If you want to get somebody to know you're there, tap your horn, toot your horn. That's what they do here, guys. This way. Just give a little toot on your horn. I do it all the time. Here, it's not a bad thing to toot your horn. It's not like California where some Chicano dudes are going to shoot you in the face because you tooted the horn at them, or they're going to jump out of their car with a wrench and attack you. It's not like that here. Toot it. You're just letting them know you're there. But another thing too, talking about driving around here, that I found them on Lazada. I had, when I was in the States, I had rear view mirrors that went on my helmet, and I was searching for that. I found them on Lazada. They're these ones with just little wires, and they supposedly clip to your glasses, but I'll tape them or bond them to the helmet. And I'll try. I ordered a couple of them. They weren't very expensive. They're flat. They're not the convex. That would have been nice to have, at least for one side. But they're flat glass mirrors. I hope they're of good quality, and but I'm going to put them on the helmet. I like that a lot better than, and I never even looked at my mirrors on a lot of bikes I had. I actually would get the mirrors that I could fold up, like dirt bike style. When they first came out with those, they put them on the ram mount ball, and I used to just fold them in because I had the ones on the helmet. And I had a review helmet for a while. If you guys want to look that up, it's got a little window up here in the helmet, and you just look up into that, and it gives you a pretty good image of what's behind you. Now, if you're on lean too far forward, it's just looking at the sky. So they gotta perfect that. I got one of the first ones made. I hope they've perfected it since then. But unique helmet. But here in this country, you have to have the mirrors on the bike. I actually got stopped by a cop. I asked him if he was going to be a detective because I had the tricycle, so instead of having the mirrors on the handlebars of the bike, I put them up on the tricycle where I could use them, Yep. And see, that guy don't have any exhaust on his plane. That's why it's so loud. So he stops me because there was no mirror, and these mirrors are sticking out from the top of my tricycle. How you could not see them, I don't know. That's why I asked him if he was going to be a detective, because he was something. But they'll stop you for a lot of stuff, looking to get money and stuff like that, I guess. That's when I had the tricycle. I'll do really good mirrors on any vehicle I have. Our Honda has really good mirrors, even though the girl smashed into it with her electric bike, and we got nothing out of that. It's still pretty good. Those mirrors are really fantastic on the car. That's one thing I look for when I get in a car. I've had cars that had terrible mirrors on them. I had trucks where I put good mirrors on them. You got to be able to see and know what's behind you. I'm always, especially here, watching behind me, because you'll get these motorcycle guys that come up on you fast. They pair of tongs, pair of shorts, no helmet, no glasses, and they're coming up on you at 100 kilometers per hour while you're doing 10, you know, zipping through traffic. So it's accident waiting to happen. It's not too good. Morning, fellas.
Morning.
Beautiful morning, eh?
Beautiful morning.
Yep. But they're getting it all cut around here, which is good. We saw some, we saw some lizards running in here when we were walking the other day, and it's amazing how fast they can scoot over this. Yeah, buddy.
Right after we go to Banana Street, can we go to Mass?
Yeah. We named all these streets, like this one here because the Tower Street, and down at the far end we call it Bamboo because the big bamboos. This one, the kids named it Banana Street because there's a little banana tree that got all knocked down. I don't know who hacked that thing down, but you could see it was hacked on, which is a shame. I should have just left that grow. Down on the far end, yeah, we're gonna go this way to it. Down on the far end, we call it Papaya Street because the whole street's lined with papayas. It's really nice. And a lot of dragon fruit growing over the wall. We love those dang things. And what's really nice, our neighbor gave us a pile. Tatai always brings us some. And I'll tell you the truth, I love them. They're kind of like a beet and a kiwi mix. They do stay in your tongue. I imagine you could dye clothes with these things. They're really something. Let's go to the next one. Yeah, because of the dogs. But yeah, there's Mr. Noisy over there, we call him. He likes to just bark. He just wants petted. They're going to make him antisocial though. This is what they do here with the animals, and we're starting to get a lot more of this again. You know, here we go again with this crap. I mentioned something to the security guards about this. They need to get them a dog thing, and these dogs get out. If they get out every now and again, okay, that can happen. I can understand that. But these chronic people that are just leaving their dogs out, I think they should start getting a fine. You know, you want your dog back, you got to pay this, because it's absolute baloney. So we got to walk around and worry about stepping on a dog crap. And one thing that happened to us guys was when we first lived in GMA, all the kids were born in that house, and we had, they always had green boogers, coughs, just not good. And we decided to get out of there. But what happened is the dogs crapped all over there. And I'm not kidding you, there'd be 6 to 8 piles of dog crap in 50 feet of walkway. Them dogs just crapped everywhere.
Papa, that's a police dog.
Oh, okay. McGruff the crime dog? But what happens is the sun hits it here and it dries out to a powder, and then these other little kids playing in the neighborhood step in it, and it turns to powder. It's a dog poop powder, and that blows up in the air and the kids breathe it. And I even started telling my wife that's got to be why they're wrong. I was even getting green boogers and stuff, and we got out of there, gone. So that is a problem here, and the Filipino people don't think anything of it. That's just a normal way of life. That dogs poop where they poop. I had a guy tell me that one time. Dogs poop where they poop. Well, how ridiculous. How about if I just poop where I poop? How about I come visit you in your house and I take a dump right on your living room floor? And you're going to say humans poop where they poop? You know, come on, guys. We're trained. As children, we're trained to go in the potty. And you train your dog to do the same thing. You have them go somewhere else. I've actually gone through here and picked up poo when they were right around the house like that and thrown it in the grass, because these people aren't picking their poo up. Our one neighbor does, but I get on this a lot because it's something I'm in this country. I'm just not getting over for some reason. Been here 9 years now, and the way they treat their animals here, it just what's the point of having one? Why would you get a dog that's done nothing wrong to you? All they want to do is love you and be your friend, and put them in jail for that. They get thrown in jail for that for their whole lives, their whole miserable short lives. They turn antisocial because they're like humans. You put a human in solitary confinement, and what's going to happen to them? You know, they're going to get antisocial. They're going to go nutty. They know this, and the same thing happens to these dogs. And then when they do break their chain and get out, you've got trouble. You've got major, major trouble. And I don't get it. That, you know, they talk about all these things that they should do in this country, but they don't really do anything. They should be training kids in the schools. I said it when this convent stuff came on. You know, why aren't they teaching people from starting now? They could have started 2 years ago of not sharing your glasses when you're drinking and not doing all this stuff. No politician anywhere said anything about that. Me, that's it. So they're wanting to throw money at stuff. It's typical government. Governments around this world, especially the U.S. guys, to fix problems they want to throw money at it, and it doesn't work. You could throw money at problems all day. When you throw money at it, you're going to get more of that problem because you're throwing money at it, you know, and people want money. So, but it would have been good to start in the schools. Tell them don't share, don't eat off of somebody's plate. When I was at the call center, it was so disgusting. When I first got there, I would eat in the cafeteria with the people. Bring my own lunch. Sometimes I'd buy. And I get some guy, he'd be eating with his spoon. Oh, is that good? And just reach over and take a big scoop of my food and eat it. Well, I'm done with that. I'm not eating that. I'd push the plate away and get it. And I stopped eating with them. Because it didn't happen just once, it happens. They'll stick their fingers in your food and grab something. I had a guy grab a piece of chicken one time. Oh, is that good? And he took a bite of my chicken leg and he put it back. Oh, that's really good. Did your wife make that? And it's all like it's normal stuff. Well, not for me. That's one part of the culture I'm never going to get, where they slobber all over your food and think that's okay, you know. And this is something government could do that wouldn't really cost them anything. Put it in the curriculum. You know, put it in the curriculum. You know, you take care of your dog, clean up their poo. Start doing it with these little tiny children right here, and drill it into them all through school. But there's no money to be thrown at it, so why would the government do something as silly as that? Come on, guys. That's the mentality I'm seeing, and it's a royal shame. It just gets the heck out of me. And I know you go back on my videos, I've talked about this dog baloney for a long time, but it's just getting me. I feel so sorry for these little puppy dogs here. Not too loud, baby. I do. I just feel sorry for them. I had a lot of dogs. I had hunting dogs all through my life, house dogs, lap dogs. I had some big monstrous lap dogs. I had a big old Great Dane, biggest lap dog in the world. He could put his paws, which were bigger around than my hands like this, on my shoulders and look me straight in the face and bite my face off if he felt like it. My big old happy boy loved me to death. Didn't allow anyone to get near me. Just didn't. You know, he just was mine. He slept in the bed, and real short-haired. He was a brindle, and he was the biggest sweetheart. He's the one I found out about heartworm, and after him, you know, I know this sounds, people say, oh, you're nutty, but when he died, he got old and slowed down, and I thought, wow. And he was only about 8 years old. I'm wondering what's up with him. And then he turned gray. He got real gray, and in a matter of a couple months, he just gave up the ghost. You know what I mean? That was the end of him, and I couldn't figure out what was wrong, so I cut him open. At first I thought somebody fed him glass. You know, maybe threw some hamburger in with some glass in it or something like that. You know, because when they get their intestines cut up, the same thing will happen. I've had that happen to me before. So I cut him open, and his heart had all these like yellowish white veins all around it. And I actually went down to the vet, and the vet looked at, oh, heartworm. He got heartworm. And then he sold heartworm tablets. Now I think they give them something that's good for a year or something, a shot. But back then you had to give them, every couple months you had to give them a little thing. They like it, they eat it, you know, so. But I wished I'd have known about that when I had him, because he was actually not the best dog I ever had, but he was one of my favorites, because he was just such a big, lanky goofball, and it was so funny. I'd walk down the street, he would get in front of me and just sort of weave back and forth in front of me. Always when he'd make his weave, he'd turn and look at me to see where I was, because I'd deliberately change up where I was going, and he'd have to catch up to stay in front of me. But if there was a bunch of dudes on the side of the street coming my way, they'd cross the street when they saw him, and if I crossed over, they'd cross back. I mean, he just was that scary. I mean, what are you going to do with something monstrously big as him? He was pushing 200 pounds and strong, super strong, just a fantastic dog. But all my dogs, you know, I had one dog, Patty Cake, that could talk. She would talk to you. You know, I'd get out there sometimes at night, take her for hikes. Never needed a leash for her. She was just a mutt. I actually had a picture of her. She was laying in the corner of the dining room, and I stuck my walking stick down in like where her belly was, real gently. I took a picture, and I swear, you can't tell it's a dog. It looks like a dirty old mop. Well, I loved that little dog, and she loved me. And I went ahead and gave her a cut. We called her a mutt with a cut. People say, "Oh, what kind of dog is that? What breed is that?" A mutt with a cut. I gave her a schnauzer cut. I left her a Scotty mustache. Shaved her head, shaved her ears. I shaved just the front part of her tail, the front part of her legs, and then her whole back, except down to her belly. I left a strip down on her belly, and she looked like a show dog, and she liked her haircut. She was one of my dogs. I got pictures of her cutting her hair, and she just sat there. I actually could get in between her fingers. I called them fingers on her because she had super long fingers on her paws, and she'd let me get in there and cut that hair out of there. And she didn't mind. One time though, my wife, she's going to cut her, and she just hacked her all up, and then it took me a while before she trusted me to do it again, because she was all cut and bloodied. They always say women's the milder sex. I don't believe that. I really don't. Sometimes they can be pretty abrupt and rough, grating, you might say, but I feel sad about all the dogs here. They're fantastic creatures. Never was a cat guy, but had them. I actually had one cat that my brother, he was going somewhere, and he left me his cat, Sylvester, and he was a black and white one, just like on the cartoon. That was a cool cat. And then I had one other cat that when I walked in the house, I never saw it. I never saw it. You never even knew it was living there. It pooed outside, so there was no stink. And I think we had that cat for years and years, and I never saw it. So that was my absolute favorite cat, because that's how I want cats. I don't want them in the house. I just don't want them around, pawing in their poo and then walking on my counter. Yeah.
Watch TV now?
No. But we are having a breezy, beautiful day. I'm a little bit sweaty now, just from that short walk. But it's nice to get out. We getting Dorothy to walk. I want her to get out and walk with us more. A couple times she doesn't want to go, and I want her to go. I want her to come with us and see stuff. And they banter back and forth when they're walking, and that's a good thing. That's her bros. They got to stick together, because when we're dead and gone, they're what they're going to have for each other. They're going to be each other's, and they have to look out for each other. And that's what I'm trying to instill in them. They do fight and tussle, just like I did with my brothers and sisters, and that's just how it goes. I don't think that's a bad thing. You have to learn to peck in order, and Dorothy is learning that now. When I try to stop her from her whining. She wants to tattle and whine when they do something to her, and I just tell her, hey, take care of it yourself. And she does that, and then they stop, because they don't want to get a whack from her. She's bigger than them, and she's got to not put up with that. That's what she has to do, and she's starting to do that now. Took a long time, but I don't like the whining. I don't want to hear it. They start whining, I don't go for it. I just don't. I don't want to hear that. But they're really good kids, rambunctious for sure. My wife doesn't understand them sometimes, but hey, they're kids. I don't go with it. Moo has his little problem with what he was doing. He did get actually not one, but a couple whacks with the belt, and so far now it's been 3-4 days, and he's not trying to pull it anymore. He's not doing that stuff. So they got rules. Maddie's doing really good with his I don't let them use stuff or touch anything because they don't put it back. One of the things was a channel changer. We'd find it in the kitchen somewhere because he'd hold it and then take it in there. Or if I had a tool or something, he would put it somewhere and then I couldn't find it. So I wasn't liking that. So now I really drilled him on that. I have some tools that I leave sitting around. I have my tool pouch hanging. If he needs a tool, go get it. I don't have a problem with that, but you will put it back. You put it back exactly in the spot you found it, or you don't get to use it. And he's just now starting to do that, which I'm just super happy about. You got to keep your stuff organized, or you're going to be just a mess. I worked with guys where they just throw their stuff in their work truck, and they couldn't find anything. Mine, if somebody needed a part, I'd toss them the keys and say, okay, it's in the bins behind the passenger seat, the first row of them, second drawer down on the left. And that's where it was, because I knew where everything was, and I could tell people that. But you know, some guys just didn't do it. I did have one buddy. I had one buddy that he had a van, and it was a jumbled mess, but I couldn't fault him because he could tell you, oh, down in the track on the door back there's one fell down in there a couple months ago. And he knew where all his stuff was. So that guy, I didn't pick on him too much. We called him Pigpen, like on the Peanuts, because his truck was a mess and he never washed it. You know, you hated to have him be a front man to go anywhere because his truck was a filthy mess. And you have to keep your vehicles nice. I know when I was going out selling jobs, I'd see guys, electricians, come up because they had an old beater, leaking oil, rusty, and you know, how are you going to get? And they dressed slovenly. When I'd go up to do any of my sales and stuff, I was dressed up. We had nice uniforms, and the vehicles were washed. You know, you wash your vehicle, guys. That's just all there was to it. And I would get into sometimes up in the high desert, the vehicles would get, like, the dust would stick to them. It just sticks to them. I'd wash those on a regular basis. I'd get home from work at night before I even went in the house. I had the garden hose sit there. I'd turn the water on inside the garage, and I'd rinse them off and hit them real quick with a sponge and some soapy water. And that way, when I went out the next day, it looked good again. You couldn't sell if you looked like crap. Salesmen, if you ever notice salesmen, they always dress very nicely, and there's a reason for that. You have to look good, or nobody, people aren't going to trust you. If you're a slob, what kind of work are you going to do? I knew a guy. I actually worked for him on and off through the years, and his panels were a mess. I was taught by, I think, one of the finest electricians there was. Neatest guy you ever seen when it came to doing panels. They were beautiful. Everything was straight. Taught me how to bend them, do the bottom ones first, so that if you have to get in to do some work, you can just stick your hand in behind and just pull everything out of the way. All 90'd off and beautiful. He was absolutely one of the finest electricians. And this fella I worked for on and off. When I would be off, I'd work for this other guy. And inside of his panels looked like spaghetti. And he said, hey, he'd just have them pulled straight. And I'm like, what? And he would leave big loops in case if you had to move them, and all this excess stuff. They looked terrible. And I said, man, that looks like spaghetti in there. And he said, yeah, well, it doesn't matter. Electricity's still going to get there. Well, that's not going to get you sales. He never had the work that he could have gotten. And that was just a royal shame. Some guys are slovenly. It says right in the NEC code book to do all your work in a neat and workmanlike manner. It's right there in the very beginning of it, and they can hit you on an inspection for that, and they should, because you need to neaten it up. I used to get, when I would pipe, they would always give me the panel rooms. They would give me the panel rooms. All the guys would bring all the pipes, the straight sticks, and maybe just 90s or something into the panel rooms. And sometimes we'd have 6 and 7 panels in these panel rooms, and they always make them super small. There's just enough room to move in. There's a code of how many feet you got to have, and they would do the absolute minimum, because a panel room floor space doesn't make a company any money when they're putting up a building. So, but they would give me those, and I used to have the inspector would come in and take pictures. He would take pictures of the pipe work in there, because I'd make everything super neat. I'd make sure when the print was up, if I wasn't the foreman, I'd say, hey, you know, you've got this one rack coming over here. I'm going to have to do some weird crosses for this. This is where this panel's going. I want them to bring this over here, and they were always cool with that. Just you run that. They used to always tell me, you take care of that, because I got hired in on many jobs just for that. You know, and I had pictures of it. I had inspectors were coming taking pictures, and also my old boss too. He had an inspector. We did some residential stuff, and the inspector wanted to use it for his class, and that's the way I was taught. And I have to give that man a lot of credit for making me neat. You know, you just have to do it. Even when I do my services. Yeah, that's for sure. What is that? Something in my pocket. Oh, okay. But even my services I put in were just super neat. Never failed an inspection on them. I did have one inspection failed. I had a guy that was helping on the job, and he was colorblind. I finished the job. It was a long day. I wanted to get it done in one day. We had to, the entrance cable had to be pulled in to the job because it was in a tree, and I said, look, you need to get out there and clip the trees out of this. And then I had to pull it because there was too much of a droop. I mean, we cut off about 6 feet of the entrance cable because it was just, and we were doing it hot. It was just too droopy and in a tree. So the guy went out there, was cutting the tree while I was finishing my work. And when I was all done, he had a panel for his pool. There was a special separate panel just for the pool right next to the main panel. They wanted to disconnect on it to be able to shut the whole pool off. And you know, we had a danger sticker on it and everything like that. And you could see the pipe. We ran one big 1-inch pipe to it, and that was just all for the pool stuff, the lighting, the pumps, everything. And everything was on its own circuit. Well, I didn't have enough ground wire. Inspector was coming the next morning. I said, hey, go out early in the morning, get a new roll of wire, and go. And what the closest electrical supply house was a Home Depot. So he grabbed a roll of things. Well, he was colorblind, so instead of the ground wire, he took a dump. But instead of the ground wire being green, it was red. So it failed the inspection, and I went out there and saw the red one, but he was colorblind. He couldn't tell that was two of the colors that looked the same to him. He could tell colors, but he couldn't tell between red and green. So we went out there, pulled that wire out, and redid it, and everything was good after that. The inspector actually came right out. He was in the area, so he came right back, gave us our sticker, and we were done with that service. So, excuse me. But another thing happened cool before I let you go. I ordered the Sony batteries from this place out of Manila. The guy claims on the chat they're nice fresh ones. He said even on the package there's a date. So I was like, cool, send me the freshest ones you got. I'm gonna just was gonna grab 2, and they were 450 pesos each, figure $9, which is a fantastic deal for those. It's the cheapest I found. Well, I got it in the cart, but I'm not ordering it until payday. I'll order it on the 1st. Well, 2nd here, because it's always a day behind here. So I'm going to order that. And I got a couple other things I wanted to get. And they lowered it down to $3.99. They said, oh, something in your cart just got the price reduced. So leaving stuff in your cart does that. I got the free shipping on it because I put it in the wish list, and it sat there, and they came back and said, here's a coupon for free shipping, and the shipping was like 99 pesos. So, there's $2 I saved there. So then I put it in the cart a day or two ago, and just this morning I had a notice in there saying that it went down to $3.99 from $4.50. So now we're talking $8. So to me, guys, that's a good deal for me. That's a real good deal for those, and I'm going to buy more. I'll get those and keep them around. I want to get another one of these cameras in case something goes with this, and I still got to get the laptop. I found another laptop that was in my wish list. They gave me 10%, and then it's a Dell. And now I got it in the cart, and I'm waiting for them to lower it down more. It's not exactly what I wanted, but it was such a fantastic deal. At first it was $22,000, and then they lowered it down to $20,000. And if I get a thing on there that says 18 anything, I'm just going to go ahead and order it. I'll just order it payday and get that done, because you know, the phone, the Samsung phone is doing really stupid stuff now. It's not allowing me to send any pictures with any email, and I don't think it's the emails, because I have 4 different email companies: AOL, Gmail, Yahoo, Proton Mail, you know, and Hotmail. So that's actually 5. I got more than that. And none of them will allow me to send a picture now. It goes into drafts and just will not send any picture. Now, if I take the picture out and just leave the text, it'll go. So I don't believe that's all these email companies. I believe it's this phone. It's also doing something. It wouldn't run at all, and it was another update from, you know, only a week or 2 old. So I had to update it again. Now, if I go, let's say I'm on AOL. As soon as I turn AOL off and go to something else, it shuts off the Wi-Fi. And the only way to get the Wi-Fi off is, I can't just shut the Wi-Fi off in the phone. I have to reboot the phone for it to pick up the Wi-Fi signal again. So they want me to buy another one of their phones, which I'm not. I don't care. A lot of people say, oh, they got Samsungs and they're really great. Well, you don't have Samsungs that are bought in the Philippines. And one guy said, oh, we'll get it from the Samsung store, the direct store from them. It doesn't matter here. You're getting tier 4 products. You're getting their garbage. And a lot of places too will sell stuff that isn't real here. But I just want to be done with this smartphone deal. It doesn't allow me to look at everything, because it's a phone app instead of a computer app, so you don't get to see everything. When I was at Tim's house, he went to the studio, and the stuff that it put out there on his screen, you know, because he went through the computer to do it on his TV computer, and it just showed so much stuff than what mine shows. And then he also gave me a site, I forget what it's called right now, but it tells you how much money you make. It gives you projections and all that. Well, on his, man, it just showed you all kinds of stuff. On mine, it shows very limited stuff. And if you try to open it to where it's like the laptop thing, I'm only getting a little window of that, and you gotta scoot over and try to make it big, and it won't stay big. You gotta hold it big to try to read it, and then move it. And it's just I don't want to deal with that. It's too stupid, you know, to have to do that. So the only way I can see moving on with this and getting things better is with a laptop. I did have my buddy in San Jose sent me a really good editing software. I've seen some of the stuff that he's done with it. He's a computer guy. He helps people set up web pages, and that's what he does. That's what he does for his living. He's on his computer all day. We go to visit, and he's on the computer. He'll sit and chat with you, but he's working. And he got this editing software from Israel. And it's a really big, it was so big it wouldn't go on my phone. I couldn't get it to go onto my card, because then it was unusable. I couldn't bring it over to the phone because the phone wouldn't open it. It was too big. That's how much information was in it. So he said, you have to have this much memory in order to get to work. And even on his, when he goes to that site, everything else has to get turned off on his computer, and he's got a desktop. But the stuff that he does with his videos, I mean, it would probably take me a year to learn, but he gave it to me. I have it on, it's on one of those little things. He loaded the whole program into one of these little 1 terabyte cards that I gave him, and it's got a little holder. You just plug it in the computer, and he says, when you're ready to go, he says, when you get your computer, he says, you plug that in to the HDMI port, and then when it pops up on, he said, just hit run. He said, it's probably going to take a half hour to load, depending on the speed of your computer, and then you're going to be all set. And I'm not going to put any other stuff. I might keep the KindMaster, because I like that tune. I like that tune that we picked for that. Tropical Tim and I were going through tunes, and I just loved that one. I like all kinds of music. You know, anytime we're listening to either, we could listen to big band, we could listen to country, we can listen to rock and roll, jazz, you name it. There's not one type of music. I actually was in a car one time with the preacher from our church, And it struck me as odd because we drove and we were listening to this station. I just don't stay on one station when I'm in the car. And when we got back in the car, there was this head banging that I didn't even like. And he goes, "Oh man, how can you listen to that?" Anyway, hey dude, I just got in the car. You know, but I listen to a little bit of everything. So that's the way it goes. Now here in Lipa City, you know, I usually listen to the RJ channel. We can't get it here. It goes in and out. You know, it's just all static. So here we don't really have a radio on in the car. I started collecting a lot of tunes in the phone. When I hear a tune I like, I just download it in my YouTube thing. And I've got a collection now of, my goodness, 50 songs that I really like. My favorite is Pavarotti and oh heck, James Brown, Man's World. I love that one. The kids like that one. But it's supposed to be able to plug the phone into the radio, and I'm supposed to be able to play that. It doesn't work. That radio is the biggest hunk of junk I ever had. Honda, you should be ashamed of yourself for even allowing that thing to go in a car. It's junk. When you turn the radio on, the only way I can use this radio is I have to leave it on and then just turn the volume down when I don't want to watch it. But every time I go to the dealer, they turn it off. And when you hit the on button, instead of the radio coming on, yeah. Oh, look at that. That's a good one. Big floppy ears.
No, that's not the fluffy.
Is that arms?
The hair.
Oh, make some hair. Oh, hair. Whoa, that's some big hair. But you have to go through all. I can't do it while I'm driving, guys, because I have to look at it, and you have to keep hitting the button, and I don't know how to fix that. I looked in the manual, and the manual's like a phone book. It's just it's got to come out of there. I absolutely 100% want to take that piece of junk out of there, and it's going to be a job, though. I looked at it because the radio's way down in the dash, so you can't steal it, and it's just a little faceplate on there that plugs in. You can just hit a lever and pull that off. I wish I would just love to have a radio like the old days, maybe a Wonder Bar on it, and just an on and off volume, and then the channel changer, and then another button behind the button that does the bass and the treble. So just a regular simple radio. I bet you if they came back out with those, people would love them. Why do you need all this tech in your car where you have to pull over to do anything with it? It's just stupid. It goes to auxiliary. Auxiliaries is supposed to be where I plug in the phone, and it's supposed to go through the speakers. It doesn't work. It just says not recognized all the time. So it's just a piece of junk. But you look at the guys that do this kind of stuff, and they sell really nice stereos, but all the stereos for the car that I like, they're a regular one solid unit. It's not going to fit in here because there's a big metal bar in the way. You'd have to cut that out. So it has to be the one that goes down underneath the dash and then have that faceplate thingy. And they have them, but they're all different sizes than this one. I only have so much room to go with this one. So, and the only other option is to another one of this brand radios in the car, and I'm done with this brand. You know, you're not going to fool me a second time. You can take your junk and it could go down the road. And the upgrade to this radio is another one with more. It has more buttons than this one. I don't want more buttons. Just give me something simple that works, guys. That's all I want. You know, I'm into the KISS principle. You guys know what I mean there. But that's absolutely what I want. So I'm going to let you go, and this is Rick Shaw out.